Hello and welcome back to another episode of Oasys Top Tips. Did you know that you can create groups in Primer and export them for use when post-processing in D3PLOT? Today I'm going to show you how you can create groups and what they can be used for within Oasys Primer. I'm then going to show you how these groups can be exported so that you can use them within D3PLOT or THIS to help you organize or group bits of your model for your post-processing. So what are groups? Groups can be used in Primer to collect things together. Anything that has a label can be put into a group, for example, a part or a node. Things that do not have labels, such as star constrained or star boundary, cannot be grouped. At present, within Primer, the main use for groups is for helping you to assign mass to bits of your model. So if I click on the Assign Mass button here and then click on Create, we can see that we can assign mass based on a part set or assembly or a group. So if we click the group option here, we would then have the option of selecting a group or creating a group. So you could create a group from here and a pop-up will appear, or alternatively, you could have clicked on the groups button here and a similar window would appear docked in the pane. Okay, so if I wanted to create a group then, I have various options presented to me. So to start with, I want to give it a label. So I'm just going to give it the first free label here, and then I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call this name wheel hubs or something like that. Then I'm just going to minimize this. We have options of how to add different things to our model. So by default, we only have the show in model selected, and that basically shows just those entities that this model contains. If we clicked on the show all entities, we're going to see some other things that the model doesn't contain, for example, like a set of discretes. That disappears when I go show in model. And then we can also have show in group, but there's nothing in this group at the moment, so it doesn't show anything. Okay, so I want show in model. I need to select entities. So to start with, I'm just going to pick on part. And then I have the option of either adding an all, a range, or a list. So all would be to add like all the parts in the model or all the parts within a specific box. So if I click apply now, it's going to add one all, and then it says 0 range and 0 L. And in the group we have parts, one all. And if I wanted to list the group, we can see that it contains all the parts. Alternatively, I could have come on here and I could have added a box and selected or defined a box to limit what I'm picking. So here I have a box called the wall box, and we'll just add the parts in the wall box. At the moment, the group doesn't really contain what the name suggests, but I'm just going to create it and show you then how we can edit it later. So I've created that group and it's adding all the things into the group. And then here, I'm not going to bother assigning mass. So I'm just going to close this window down. Okay, now I'm going to go through to the groups option here, and we can see that we have the wheel hubs group. If I click on that, we saw that everything was highlighted in the group. And I'm just going to select all, and I'm going to view and edit all the parts defined. In this case, I want to remove that row so that I'm only just picking those in that box. So I'll click on the drop down here, delete row, and then end edit. And now if I update the group, I can come back to it and sketch it. We should now just see those parts that are inside that front box. Okay, so why don't I just rename this to start with? I'll call it front box group, and we'll go and add the wheel group in a second. Okay, update. So now I'm going to create another group, and this one I'm going to use part, and I'll briefly show you the range option. So the range would just be from one ID to another. And you can also limit this by a box, but because I just want to pick the hub parts manually, I'll click on the list option, and then I'll click on select parts to add. In this case, I'll just click, turn the car around, click, and click. And now I've added those parts. Now, if they were in a continuous range, then maybe I could have used the range option, but for my use case at this point, it's easier just to list them, and then I'll apply that part selection, and I'll give it a name, and I'll call it wheel hubs. Okay, now groups could contain anything here. I've just shown you the part option, but you could of course use beams or shells, solids, anything really you like, and you can have combinations of different things in a group. So it's slightly more refined than, say, a set. And in fact, groups can also contain sets. So look, a set part or a set solid. So you could group different types of entities all together within the same group. Now, just before we move across to D3PLOT, I'm going to explain a few more options here. So the lock against cleanup might be useful for you. Say you have something in your model that is not yet defined. That could be like a set that is empty. You could actually add that to a group and then click on the lock against cleanup. And that means that when you do a cleanup operation, by clicking on the remove button here and then do cleanup, it will prevent that from being cleaned up or deleted. And that means that you don't have to recreate that, say, latent set that you've yet to define later on. And there are various other things you might want to include in that. For example, maybe you have some nodes in your model that are massless but are useful for positioning or something like that. Then you could put them in a group, lock it, and then that would prevent them from being cleaned up when you run a cleanup. The list group option here basically shows you what's in this group. So here it's showing you there's parts and there's 4 wheel hubs. And we can sketch that. Now groups are stored in the model in the star group keyword, and so we need to know which model to save these in, and in this case they're going to be saved in the master file, and that's just so groups are present the next time you open them. I'll just create this group. But in order for them to be accessible in D3plot or THIS, we'll need to export them. So we can click on the export button here, and then we need to write out an ASCII file. So you can see it's given me group 003. That's because there are 2 groups that I've already written out. So I'm just going to make an additional one. And here I have the option of selecting which group or groups I would like to write out. So I'll just write them all out and click apply. And then I've got the group ASCII written out. Okay, so let me just have a look then at that file that we've just written out. So here we have that ASCII file, and it's got a star group there, and then the name of the first group. So this was Windows, and that's one that I'd already created with all the parts on the window group. I could have done a nice range here. So I could have done 185 and then a colon to 187 and so on. Depending on what range you're selecting or what you're doing, you have the list option, the range option, or the all option. Okay, so we see the first group is the Windows, the next one is called the front box group, and we've got all the parts which are inside this box. And then the last one is the wheel hubs group, and that one has those 4 wheel hub parts. I'm just going to quickly bring across the manual and kind of explain that with an example as well. Now, although of course you could manually type this yourself, there's every chance you make an error. I would recommend using the tool in Primer to make these, because you can edit them and sketch them and it's not going to get it wrong, whereas you might do. But here's an example of a group that you could have. So first of all, we're selecting all the parts, and then in the same group we're selecting all the parts in box 1. So that's kind of a redundant task because we've already selected all the parts and then we're selecting them again. It's a bit like what I did in the example. Then next we are actually removing parts, so you can select them all then remove them. And this might remind you a little bit of the top tip I gave at Christmas. I'm showing you how you can use the transforms to remove the baubles around on the Christmas tree. And essentially the order of these is quite important. But the order is very specific and it doesn't actually follow the order that they're written in here. It does them in order a bit like a mathematical operation. So the order it does things in is it does all the additions first, and it does them in the order of set parts, then other set types, then elements, and then other entities in an alphabetical order. And then it does removals in the same order. So in this case, say we had part all afterwards, the part all removal in box 2 would still operate because the removing happens after the addition. And then here we have a set list, just like we've seen. We've got part list here, and then a nodes 1 to 1000, nodes 100 to 1000, but only those inside box 2. and then here we are removing all the beams 50 to 60. Okay, so now I'm in D3PLOT and I've got my model here. I'll unblank everything and just show you it as we normally do. What I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to go to display mode and set that to be shaded for all parts in the model to start with. And basically that means that even if I change the contour plot, none of these will show contours because their display mode is shaded. It will become clear why I've done that in a second. Next, I'm going to go to the Groups tab here, and I'm going to read in some groups, and here it's automatically found group 003 ASCII, so I'll click Apply, and then I'll have a look at my groups. So I can click Sketch, and I can see my windows. Now if I click on the front box group, we actually see all the parts appear, and that's because D3PLOT doesn't have any knowledge of where that box is. So when it looks for those things inside the box, it just assumes the box is everywhere. So that's a watch it when you're using groups in the external software that use the box refinements. And in that case, it might be better to just specifically select ranges or parts or elements without using boxes. And let's look at the last group, wheel hub group, and we can see those appear here. Okay, so let's show you how you might want to use these then. So if I unblank and return to shaded mode, so I think the main use case for groups in D3plot is for helping you to do selections here. So if I clicked on groups and then went to blanking and just clicked here, it now shows me the options of the two groups. So I'm just going to click on the wheel hub group and then reverse, and now I've got all my wheel hubs, which is quite nice. Similarly, if I click on the window group, I can blank out all the windows. I'm just going to show you then another use case for these. So let's look at the wheels, and if I right click here and select the wheels, and I change the display mode to current, and then I do a contour plot, now we can see that we've got the 1 Oasys stress plotted on the wheels, and we can animate through, and we can see that it was a really easy way of basically showing just the stress in those parts and keeping everything else in its original coloring. So right at the beginning I changed the display mode for everything else to be shaded so that I could then manually select just those bits that I wanted to be contoured. So we'll just have a little look at the windows and do exactly the same thing here. And here we can see the stresses in the windows. And at this time, it might be worthwhile also changing the transparency to 0 and having a look around. And seeing how the stresses in the windows are changing throughout the analysis. So we see that window flies out or falls out here. So that's the main use case, I think, for groups in D3plot, but you also have the option of using groups when you're plotting XY data versus time, and then you'll see groups appear here, and you could select or subselect from groups. So let's say you had a group which represented all of the bolts in a model and you wanted to look at the axial force in those, you could just select your bolt group here, get the axial force out and plot them. And a very similar philosophy applies also in THIS, so you could use those groups when you have your ASCII file to plot those as well. So I hope you found this top tip useful on how you might want to use groups both in Primer, D3plot, and also maybe in THIS. And I look forward to seeing you in the next Oasys top tips.